Good morning. I'm excited to be coming to you today to talk about one specific topic, evaluating and picking your investments. So let's begin with the most specific example that will work for any investment. And that's basically looking at two different investments. The first investment we have on our slide here is up 30% the first year and down 10% the next year. Our next investment was up 15% the first year and only 5% the second year. Well, when you look at these two averages, they actually have both averaged 10% on average per year, but significantly different ways to get there. I like this as a start point of evaluating any investment because it begins to start what my specific volatility is in that particular investment. Let's move on to 5 other evaluation tools, and the most important one maybe first. Our first evaluation tool is what our mix of investments is. Historically, about 90% of your return in your investments comes specifically from your mix of cash, stocks, and bonds. Of course, stocks historically have tended to be the most risky but the most return, and bonds and cash provide stability but not as much upside. And this is why this particular mix is so important to your eventual return and what your volatility is on a month-to-month and day-to-day basis. Secondly, large versus small companies. And I heard a great example of what the difference is in this. Think about it this way. A large company may have 10 particular products or services. If one of those does really, really well, that's going to help the earnings of that company. But think about that versus a small company. If they have one product and that product does real well, they're going to be an exceptional company. But what if that one product doesn't do well at all? They're probably not going to be in business. So more upside to those small companies, but also more downside. So small versus large companies, if we're looking at the stock market, very important. Thirdly, a questionnaire. This is a great start point for evaluating your particular comfort level. Your 401k, 403b, retirement plan at work, and also your investment advisor can provide you with a really brief 5 to 10 question questionnaire to start to begin to evaluate what is your particular comfort level. This probably isn't an end result of where you need to be, but it's sure a good start point to figure out, are you real aggressive, real conservative, or somewhere in between. A risk gauge. This can also be found historically on your 401k or 403b statement. This is actually, in retirement plans our group sets up, we have a little gauge that looks like a gas gauge, and the low meter says it's low risk. If it's on the high side, it looks like the full meter in your gas tank is more risk. So some simple evaluation tools kind of on the specification sheet of your particular investments you're looking at should give you some gauge of risk and at least begin to ferret out which ones you're comfortable with and probably need to put by the side, maybe too risky for you. Finally, our last evaluation tool that we use every day in our office, the efficient frontier. This sounds fairly complicated, but in essence it's very simple. It's basically graphing your risk versus return. Well, in a perfect world, or in a perfect investment, we'd have zero risk. That would be really nice. As we all know, over the last 3-4 years, there is no zero risk investment. And then really high risk. And then return. So you're going to graph risk versus return. So again, in a perfect world, we like zero risk, big returns. Well, what we're trying to grasp is how much risk are we getting for a given level of return. So we want to minimize our risk, best level of return we can get in any given investment area, whether that's cash, stocks, or bonds. So we've covered really 6 different ways of evaluating investments today. I know that's a quick snapshot, but I hope it gives you some start points with all your investments. My final thought for today would be, all this is fairly complicated. We would be biased in this comment, but you may want to consider hiring an expert to help you ferret through these details and figure out exactly what's right for your investment plan. As always, we look forward to hearing from you. If you have questions about today's topics or have questions or ideas for future topics, we'd welcome your calls, emails, or visit our website, and you can click through on the contact page. Thank you and best wishes.